Good morning, it must be Thursday, and yep, behind this mask, Dee Grossman, Tuscarawas County Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm up here in Dover today, and we are going to be going through Famous Endings Museum right here at the Toland-Herzig Funeral Home, one of our other quirky, cool museums. All right, I'm inside the museum, and as you can see, there's some pretty cool stuff in here. And no, I did not cut my own hair, but I am getting pretty desperate. So I'm here also with John Herzig, who is the owner, founder, and collector of all things cool and quirky. John, thank you for allowing us to take a quick tour this morning. I've asked you what you think is the most unusual piece of your collection here.
Probably, if you come into the museum, you'll probably notice that I like Abraham Lincoln. Probably the pieces that I kind of enjoy the most are, this is a wreath from Abraham Lincoln's funeral, in the funeral train.
I'm going to get in as close as I can, but still stay 6 feet away. What is that made out of?
It's made out of, it's dried flowers.
Dried flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And when I got it, the glass was broken. We kind of had to refurbish it a little bit, but that is one of the original wreaths that was on his funeral train.
Very nice. And here is another one of the unusual pieces. John, go ahead and tell me. I don't have you in the footage here, but go ahead and speak.
That's a lantern from the horse-drawn carriage that carried Abraham Lincoln through Albany, New York. You know, of course, he was taken to various places before he was taken to Springfield for his burial. And then there's a picture of the horse-drawn carriage where this lantern was attached to.
Okay, so John, go ahead and tell us how you got this collection started.
It all kind of happened by accident in that back in 1996, I collected autographs. And one day I had a chance to get the autographed picture of the famous heavyweight boxing champion, Joe Louis. And when the guy had no idea it was a funeral director, knew nothing about me, but I worked out a deal to get this autographed picture, and when he sent it to me, it came in one of those mailing tubes, you know, and I popped off the end of the tube and I pulled out the autographed picture, but I could see something else sticking in the tube, and so I worked this thing out, and for some reason, this guy included Joe Louis's funeral program. And that's what started the whole craziness.
How many pieces do you have here in your collection today?
Oh, there's probably around 2,500.
2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that George Lawrence of Museum Acrylics has done most of the work in here, so I'm just going to take a quick scan around. You can see there's all kinds of cool stuff. And tell me about the organization of the pieces.
Well, each of the large murals that you see represent kind of a category. So when you come into the museum, the first one you see is John Belushi, and of course he represents the comedians and entertainers. And then you move on to actors and actresses with Elizabeth Taylor. And then of course we had to have military people, so General Norman Schwarzkopf is the next group of people that you see, military leaders. And then presidents and first ladies, sports. The lady back here, if you don't recognize her, that's Judy Resnick. She was the astronaut in the Challenger, and all the people on her wall are all space type people. And then religious leaders and philanthropists with Bishop Fulton Sheen. Then there's just kind of a mixture of people here, and then the guy here in the corner, that's Theodore Geisel, Dr. Seuss, and those are all writers and artists. And then we've got world leaders, we've got innovators and inventors, civil rights, and then it ends with Dr. Michael DeBakey, the famous heart surgeon. And those are kind of in the similar category of Steve Jobs.
So as a final question to you this morning, John, what one piece would you really like to add to this collection?
Well, a couple years ago, the Weird U.S. book came and they did a story on my stuff, and one of the things they said was, you might as well give me a couple of names of people that you haven't been able to find, that you love to find, and they said pick a man or a woman. And the man that I picked was Ed Sullivan. I still have not been able to find anything from his funeral memorial. And then the lady that I picked there were actually two, but one of them was Dorothy Fulltime, and those from Ohio would remember her. She was kind of the original journalist, TV journalist, to kind of start Oprah Winfrey, and a lot of these TV journalists will tell you that she's kind of the one that started women in TV journalism, and so I've never been able to find hers. So those are probably two of the ones I'd still like to have.
Okay, so if anybody out there has any of those funeral memorabilia, you know where to bring them. Thank you, John. Thank you. And of course, no tribute would be complete without a tribute to Mooney Werther. I bid you adieu from downtown Dover. We were here at Famous Endings Museum. See you next Thursday, everybody.